Welcome back, my scumbags. Today we're going to be talking about freedom, motherfucker, freedom. You know what I mean? Because we live in America. I don't have an eagle sound on my soundboard here, but yeah, freedom. You know what I mean? Like, freedom really doesn't exist to a certain extent, right? You know, America and whoever, set up this whole society lied to you and told you that once you turn 18, you work full time. You know what I mean? That's freedom, and it's not. It's not freedom, because freedom is where you're able to do whatever you want, whenever you want. Like, you feel, you feel like there's no boundaries that you have in modern day society, and modern day adults, especially millennials and Gen Z, don't have that freedom. Because how is working 5 days a week, 40 hours like that? How is that freeing? That's not freeing. Because you work 5 days, you're off 2 days a week. That's not freedom. And especially when majority of the population does a job that they don't want to do. And I'm not saying that sitting in front of a camera, sitting in front of a microphone or a soundboard or whatever, is necessarily the job that everybody should have. But at the end of the day, like, what we have right now is not freedom. It's practically slavery. You know what I mean? It really is. I mean, and I know that it might be a hot take and be like, oh, whoa. But it's slavery in the sense of, yes, you're getting paid, but it's also involuntary. You don't have a choice. If you want to be independent, or let's say people who don't have parents who are just okay with you sitting around not doing anything, and just pretty much leeching off of them, you know what I mean? Like, then you don't have a choice. You know what I mean? You have to go to work. You have to work and do whatever job. That's why I said a majority of the population will work a job that they don't want to work, because they have to. It's not because they want to. Nobody rolls out of bed and says, oh, wow, I can't wait to go to work. Some people do and some people don't. That goes back to what we were saying in the last video about Kai Cenat, and how in retrospect, right, he may look back and say, well, instead of me working at a corner store, you know what I mean, I get to get up and be a Twitch streamer, you know what I mean, or a Kick streamer, whatever. Oh, I'm a streamer, I'm an influencer, I get to go and do this, but his job still has flaws. But in terms of freedom and what you consider freedom to be, right? Some people may look at their life and say, oh, well, I feel free because I go to work every day and it doesn't really matter. Or like how they set up their day is different. Because I'm not saying that maybe if I rearrange my day and manage my time a little bit better, that I wouldn't feel more free. I mean, in a sense, I think it's here and there, right? There's a very big spectrum to what you consider freedom to be. I'm just saying that what we have now is not freedom, because working 40 hours a week, like, you spend more time at work than you do at home. A lot of people go to work and they come home and that's it. They don't go and do anything. There's no time for you to go and enjoy your life. You know what I mean? Some people do, some people don't. But personally, from my perspective, I don't really see that, right? Because there's always going to be that feeling of dread. There's always going to be that feeling of, of having to go and do something that you don't want to go and do, because you're losing that freedom, Like, when you were growing up as a kid, you didn't really fully understand, because it's an age thing as well, and it comes from an understanding and, how much you understand about the world. Obviously, the older you get, the more you understand about the world, the more you understand about life. The shitty part is that you only live once. So, like, my point is that it's not like you get a second chance. It's not like it's a video game where you can say, oh, cool, okay, I now I know what to do. Okay, let me restart from the last save. No, you don't get to do that. So that's the main problem with that as well. But there's also the fact that when you, like I was saying before, that when you go and when you're a kid and you're looking at your parents, you're like, oh, well, you consider freedom to be, well, I get to do, I don't have to ask my parents to take me somewhere. I can just go myself. And you're right. But for the most part, I think kids have a better and easy, some kids, but we're not really kids in general, right? I mean, you can come at me in the comments and be like, oh, well, my childhood, I had to, take care of my 9 siblings. That sounds like it's your parents' fault. I really don't care that you had to take care of your 9 siblings. Like, just because you had shitty parents doesn't fucking mean that I gotta feel bad for you. Let's be honest. My point is that kids have it a lot easier than they really believe. And you don't understand that when you were a child, you had it a lot easier until you grow up and you have to work a 40-hour work week. Now you're working a 40-hour work week. You have to pay for a car bill. You have to pay for a light bill. You have to pay for rent. You have to pay for, gas, right? Whether that be the gas for you to run your water heater or the gas for you to drive your car, So you're losing out on all that, right? And you also lose out on the innocence, right? You know what I mean? Because a lot of kids will be happy kids, and then they'll grow up to be bitter adults because they never caught a break as a child. And because they never caught a break as a child and they're not catching a break now, it's a lot harder. Maybe they did, but they grow up to go from happy kids to bitter adults because, the world kind of crushes your soul little by little, right? And that's how the workforce is kind of built. Like a lot of the people who I work with, especially managers and all that stuff, are kind of cynics in a sense because they're kind of just like, well, life sucks. You know what I mean? That's just how it is. And it's like, I see them trying to crush the spirits of the young. And it's like, that's kind of messed up though. Like, I get that you guys are 30 something, or maybe you're even pushing 30. Like, I don't think you should try to crush the souls of the innocent. Like, what are you, Satan? You know what I mean? Like, not even Satan would try to sit here and crush the souls the way these people do. You know what I mean? So, at the end of the day, these people might just be demons in wolf's clothing or whatever the fuck, But that's just my point right there. You know what I mean? Is that freedom doesn't necessarily exist. If you guys want to argue in the comments, feel free. You can tell me what you think freedom is. Maybe I'm looking at it from a cynic's point of view. Whatever. What I'm telling you is that, being 15 versus being 25 or 35 or 45, 55, pretty much like you're spending 40, 50, 60 years of your life working at one place and you're not getting anything out of it. And that's my point. That's not freedom. Freedom would be that you get to be like Luffy, Luffy is free because he gets to do whatever he wants. He doesn't have someone telling him, hey, this is what you're going to do. No, he decides what he wants to do. No, I want to go to this island. I want to go and eat this food. I get to go wherever I want. He doesn't have to worry about clocking in and clocking out. Granted, that's fictional, but if you think about it, if you really sit down and you really think about it, I don't think freedom will ever really truly exist in the aspect of what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? It's almost like a utopia where everybody's happy to do what they want to do. You're doing what you want to do because people are sitting down and they're listening to what you have to say. But ultimately, that's really all I got to say. I mean, because at this point, I just keep going in circles like I'm Post Malone, That's pretty much it. In my personal opinion, freedom doesn't exist, and it probably never will because no one's ever going to sit down and think the way that I'm thinking. And if they do, they're not going to do anything about it. They're going to conform to what society tells them to do. They're going to go and waste their life doing something that really doesn't matter in the first place. And that's pretty much it. And they'll die a lonely life. You know what I mean? Maybe they'll have a few good moments here and there, right? You know what I mean? If you want to be, I forgot, I think it's like from a movie or something where the guy says like, oh, well, life isn't all bad because even if you had a bad life, your life can't be that bad because I'm sure there are some good moments sprinkled in between. But this isn't a cookie, you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, life isn't a cookie, you know what I mean? So that's it. See you guys later.